Well, hello and happy spooky season, pals. Speaking of spooky season, we are recording a special Halloween episode and we can't wait to hear from you. It's your turn to share your ghost stories with us, and we'll share as many of them as we can in our episode coming out October 29th. You can either write it out in an email or you can record yourself telling the story and send the audio file to spookysisterhood@gmail.com. Deadline is Saturday, October 18th by midnight. Can't wait to hear what you have for us, and of course, keep it spooky, Sibs. Paranormal pals, and welcome to the Secret Society of the Spooky Sisterhood podcast. My name is Melanie, and if you've stumbled into our headquarters here, our Not So Secret Society is a community built through social media to connect like-minded individuals and paranormal enthusiasts. Our goal is to lift up those in this space, especially but not exclusively women, who traditionally haven't had that opportunity. Each week we'll be joined by a member of our sisterhood, a special guest, or both, as we discuss one of many fascinating topics in the paranormal world. And if everyone's ready, we'll call this meeting to order. There's only one bit of business today, and that is I'd like to remind everyone that our third annual Haunt Down to Halloween will kick off August 3rd, and we are stoked. Other than that, today's episode is a little different. We're talking to one of our newest council members and learning a little bit about why they got into the spooky world, and hopefully sharing some fun ghost stories. So without further ado, I want to introduce everyone to our council member, Bri.
Hello.
Hi, Bri. So as you know, one of the first questions that we ask our guests usually is to tell us a little bit about yourself and your childhood, and if your spooky interest started as a kid or how you got into it. So now it's your turn. You get to tell us your story.
Okay, so I, along with many people who are interested in the paranormal, I'm assuming at this point, I grew up in places that were questionable, and not like in sketchy areas or something like that. I mean, like it was probably haunted. I say that because I grew up hearing stories about how my dad would see a blonde woman who looked exactly like my mom, like walking up the stairs behind him out of the corner of his eye, or my brother was woken up and screaming, crying fits because somebody that he couldn't see was touching him, or things like that. And then I found out, like, digging into the history of the place and stuff, that a bunch of people died while they were constructing it. And,
oh my gosh.
So, like, it's kind of it's in my blood at this point.
So it really was.
Yeah. And I moved around a lot. Like, that was the house I lived in until I was, like, 5-ish. My sense of time is very wrong, so don't research that. It's probably wrong. But I've moved a lot, and out of the 10 plus places I grew up in until I was 18, more than one of them had weird occurrences happening.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is that something that like ran in your family? Like, did they have experiences before this, or is this something that you guys just kind of happen to have these haunted homes?
So family split down the middle. My mom has always been a huge believer.
Okay.
My dad not. He's extremely skeptical, and he still makes fun of me, and that's fine, because that's just kind of our mechanic. We just tease each other all the time. But he's also, a military veteran and worked as a police officer for a long time, so he's very, he's gonna, this is not the best way to word it. He's not narrow-minded, but he is when it comes to this.
Sure, he was evidence-based.
Yes, he's very, very much so. And honestly, I get that from him as well. I'm one of those people where I struggled with my belief system in regards to this for a long time. Like, and even now, I still flip-flop between whether I actually believe or if I'm just scrambling for any logical conclusion in any way, shape, or form. And
Yeah.
considering I keep coming up against many, many instances where I just can't explain it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's for me the same thing too, that I'm a very evidential person. I only will believe something if I can see it. And I'm not going to say only, but for the
Yeah.
most part. And it took something absolutely unexplainable to happen to me before I would actually buy in. And so I get that. I get where he's coming from. I get where you're
Yep.
coming from.
Yep.
And I think that's cool that you said that he was the one who had seen the woman that looked like your mother. That's so cool that he had that experience.
So, my parents got divorced when I was 2. And because of that, it was always funny growing up because I would hear all these stories from my mom about that house. And then I'd go to my dad's house super excited and be like, Daddy, tell me a ghost story. And he'd be like, ghosts don't exist. And shut me down real hard.
Wow.
And he's only admitted to me the story once in my 32 years that actually happened. Because up until, like, I was probably in my 20s when he finally told me. And up until then, he just led me to believe that my mom was just pulling my leg the entire time.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So he won't admit it again though. If you brought it up to him, you think he would just blow it off?
Yeah, oh, I'm sure. He'd
Yeah.
blow it off or he'd turn into a joke or not take it seriously. And it doesn't help that I finally got him to go on a paranormal investigation with me.
Wow.
And we went to Lake Shawnee amusement park in West Virginia. Incredible place, by the way.
Yeah.
We went camping there, and the night we were there, nothing happened.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I'm so excited. I got him to go to this really cool, infamous place. It's
Yeah.
the vibes are immaculate. It's just incredible being there in general, and you can tell there's something going on there. But the night we were there, nothing. It was just so quiet and peaceful, and he just smiled at me with a shit-eating grin the entire time.
I bet the spirits did too. They were probably like, haha.
Yeah. They probably purposely didn't interact with us because of that. Just to
That's
spite me.
hilarious. That is one place that I've always wanted to like investigate, but also I think I would kind of chicken out someplace like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what it is. It's like maybe that creepy carnival vibe that just makes me feel like there's gonna be a clown that pops out to murder me or something.
They do have a defunct actual like walk-through silly haunted house there.
Oh yeah?
That's so in disrepair and falling apart, and everything in it is just rotting, and I would avoid that if you go there.
Yeah, probably so. I still
Stay
can't.
outside of the building.
Yeah, I probably would. I still can't even do like. It's funny that I am into paranormal stuff at all because I am such a giant chicken and I can't bring myself to go to even like Halloween horror nights or like haunted houses like that. And it's actually, I don't mind being startled, so I don't mind like somebody jumping out and scaring me. It's the like knives and chainsaws and axes, that part, I can't handle it. I can't.
Yeah.
There's something in my brain that's like, this is real and I'm gonna die, and I can't. So maybe I would have a hard time with that. Yeah, but it seems like a cool place to investigate. Is there anywhere in particular that you've investigated that you would say is like your favorite place you've been?
Oh, I'm honestly terrible at picking favorites across the board in general.
Yeah.
So, is it okay if I list a couple?
Yeah, absolutely. List as many as you like. But I think, so for me, the reason I'm asking is because I feel like everybody has like a thing, right? Like some people like to investigate houses. Some people like to investigate asylums. Some people like to do, so I'm curious, and that's where I was going to go with that question. So, but yeah, you can absolutely say as many as you want.
Okay. To kind of roll off of what you just said about everybody having like a specific place they lean towards, for me, it just depends on my mood. Like every type of location has pros and cons to it. For me personally, I think penitentiaries are the coolest. They also, on average, tend to be significantly more terrifying than the other places. Not that, like, me saying that, it's not like I personally get, like, terrified, but those are the places where the energy feels incredibly heavy, and you can just, like, feel the anger and suffering, and
Yeah.
it's definitely an experience being in surroundings such as a fallen down old prison that you know the history of, and
Right.
just being able to be there and seeing the places and hearing the stories and feeling the energy of the place. It's almost like they come alive with just that, like, powerful, deep rage at times.
Yeah.
Especially at places like Brushy Mountain. Like, ooh, that one is definitely an incredible place to experience. It's also one where I would suggest, if you're more spiritual, definitely be extra careful, and particular whenever you do your protection rituals or whatever like that,
Yeah.
if that's your thing. But yet again, that's another thing I'm wishy-washy on. I'm not
Okay.
quite sure what my real beliefs are, but I'm
Sure.
also precautious.
Yeah.
I do things whether I know it'll work or not, just because I'm like, well, can't hurt.
It can't hurt. I feel like that kind of falls under that like superstitious column. I'm the same way. Well, I'm personally pretty religious, and I feel also though that I would take precautions that aren't necessarily like akin to my religion. They might be a different spiritual practice altogether. They might be not a spiritual practice, but just some weird superstitious thing I picked up on the internet. Like, listen, all of the above. I will take every precaution I can.
Yeah,
That's so
understandable.
interesting. Okay, so penitentiaries, and you said Brushy Mountain in particular was really like intense. Is that like
Yes.
you like penitentiaries like would you say that that's like your favorite kind of place to investigate, or is that more just like, well, you said it's kind of dependent on your mood.
Yeah.
What else? Tell me more. This is so fun.
So, when it comes to asylums, it's like every single one of these categories have like one specific location that is in, like, close to my heart. So, Brushy Mountain is special to me because it was the first location I worked at for a paranormal investigation company,
Okay.
and it's also the first time I experienced physical contact in a way.
Whew.
So, since it was my first job experience, I don't know why I fingered. It was a job. I don't, so
It was your
sorry.
first like paranormal job experience.
It was the first time I was getting paid for it.
Yeah.
So I was in training, so I was carrying around a little spiral bound notebook, and I kept it like tucked into my waistband, and like specifically in a fanny pack, and it was super sturdy because it was tight and it was spiral bound with the metal. And I was sitting on the ground in the auditorium, and I felt what felt like a zipper on my hip, and I turned on my flashlight really quick and looked down, and my spiral bound notebook had been yanked out of my fanny pack, and it was just gently leaning against my hip. And nobody was near me. And that was the first night I was there. We hadn't even been there an hour when that happened. Yeah. And I've just seen some other crazy things there. Moving on to asylums, since I got real sidetracked there. I I am obsessed with Indiana State Sanitarium.
Okay.
So I am in Indiana, so that was one of the locations I worked at the most frequently. And asylums across the board, they have a drastically different energy than penitentiaries do.
Yeah.
Depending on the place and the situation, the range can be drastically different. Whenever they were hospitals that okay, let's just first get this out of the way. Most infamous hospitals and past asylums weren't known for the best treatment of people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not all of them were the absolute bottom of the barrel and were horrifically crimes against humanity.
Right.
But some of them, you can kind of sense just how much of that sort of thing went down. Like, some of them feel a lot more sad.
Yeah.
But other ones, like, you get kind of a tinge of hopefulness because these are places that people went to be cured, and they had hope that they were going to be, back on their feet and out of the door. Indiana State Sanitarium, what has a very colorful history. Like, it began as a tuberculosis hospital. It was added onto and built larger and eventually turned into a mental asylum / nursing home.
Oh, okay.
And each era of it has left its own impact on it.
Wow.
And yeah, and I don't know, every time I go there, I get hit with this overwhelming feeling of home, which sounds very odd. And I don't know why I get that there. And it's not because I've worked there so many times. This is a feeling I've had there since the first time I got there. The first time I stepped inside the building, I just, like, had, like, washed over me of just, like, here I am.
Oh my gosh. I'm dying to know why now. Like, I want to do an investigation on that.
See, I have the same feeling at Waverly Hills as well. That one makes more sense to me. And coincidentally, they are both tuberculosis hospitals. Waverly makes more sense because I grew up hearing that I had some family that were there and that one of them had passed away.
Oh, okay.
Not that I've ever checked that. So, it could be completely one of those family urban legend things,
Right.
as for all I know.
That's a cool one to have.
Right. But I did get that feeling the first time I went to Waverly. It just felt like home to me. And this is going to sound so bad, but during an investigation there one night, I actually fell asleep in the body cooler in the morgue because that's where they told me to crawl. So I crawled in there, and it was dark, and it was cozy, and I just fell asleep.
I don't think that sounds bad at all. I've fallen asleep in similar creepy places.
Nice. Like, go on.
Not that creepy, but like, I just meant like little dark corner hole
Nooks
kind of
and
places.
crannies.
Yeah. I'm so curious. Have you ever had like a past life regression done or something? I wonder if there's something
I've always been
there.
curious.
Me too. I would love to do that someday. My aunt did it. She is not much of a believer in this kind of stuff. Let me take that back. I never thought she was much of a believer in this kind of stuff. I'm learning more and more about her and most of that side of my family every day. But she had a past life regression done, and she was like, it was so on the money. It made so much sense for me. And I'm very skeptical about them in general. I have a lot of mixed feelings about them, but I am curious, and I would just absolutely love to hear if you had one and it was like, oh yeah, I used to work in a hospital, or hopefully that, and not be as a patient in the hospital. But
I don't know. I feel like if I were once somebody working at a hospital, I'd probably be a lot more bitter about going to hospitals.
True, you might. Yeah, that's a good point. But I don't know if you'd feel like you were at home if you were a patient either, though. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you owned it back in the day.
How far I've fallen. No, I had a point today to make, and it felt very poignant.
I'm sorry.
It. Oh no, you're good. Oh, because you said you were skeptical about the past lives thing, but you're curious. If you think about it, that's why all of us are into the paranormal. It's because of our curiosity. It doesn't matter what our actual beliefs lie. As long as we are curious about the mystery, we're gonna be obsessed with it. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I am with most things. Like, it doesn't matter how much I actually believe it or how skeptical I am. My brain is way too curious not to explore it. So I
Right.
would 100% do a past life regression.
Right.
Just to see what happened.
And you're exactly right. I feel like a lot of the times people feel like you can't be a skeptic and be interested in the paranormal or vice versa. And I feel like it's important to be a bit skeptical and not just jump in and assume everything is a ghost or a demon. Like, that's how we end up finding actual irrefutable evidence, is if we're the kind of people who are like, that's probably the pipes, or that's the lights from down the street, or whatever, you know? And I think it's especially important these days, and again, not to get down a political rabbit hole or anything, or an ethical rabbit hole, but it's so easy to falsify things these days with AI, with, you know, all the technology that we have. And I feel like it's just so important to be skeptical as a whole these days and really like think about what we're consuming, you know?
For sure. I have to admit that I'm not convinced we have any sort of equipment available to us that would be considered irrefutable evidence at this point, especially with, you know, AI and stuff like that now. It's just going to be more prolific than ever that we have fake videos and photographs and who knows what else going around on the internet. Like, it's just getting harder and harder to prove what we've seen and what we've experienced is real. You could take a photograph of the most clearest image of a ghost or a spirit that you've ever seen, show it to somebody and be like, look what I got. It's the white whale. And then people be like, sure, Jan. Nah.
That's how I feel most of the time. And I feel bad.
No, I'm a full believer that people who want to do this sort of thing and they want to do it seriously and they want people to take them seriously, you've got to have knowledge behind camera tricks and things like that. Just at least a base one, so you have an idea of where to start when it comes to potentially debunking questionable evidence, or, you know, even figuring out your own. Like, it doesn't matter whose it is, even if you took it and you don't recognize it. Whatever you captured in the image, there's been many times where we've thought we caught something and just, you know, retraced our steps and tried to recreate it and seen what happens.
Exactly. And it's not that you're saying that it's necessarily faked, but that there's an explanation behind it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I think that that's a big piece of this. And I don't know, I actually was going to ask you a similar question about your family, but for me, growing up, I was a really fearful kid. And so my dad would sit up with me at night and he would be like, okay, that was the cat next door that you heard, or that's the house settling, or whatever. And he'd like help me to not be so afraid by telling me like what noises were, or like why the lights flickered, or whatever it may be, you know? And I think that that really set me up for like a solid skeptical future of looking at things or listening to things and saying, okay, what is that? Before I assume that it's a ghost or a demon, let me think this through. And I was curious, with your dad being so evidence-minded, is that something that he would do as well? Like, well, I know that you think it's a ghost, but did you ever think it could be XYZ? Is he like that with you?
I can't say. I mean, I always knew he was going to deny any sort of paranormal explanation, so I never bothered asking that particular question. But we grew up in the country. There's noises all the time at night coming from the woods that you have no idea what it is. That's what cracks me up about all the Appalachian stories. Like, yeah, so most of the stories that come out of Appalachia that people like talk about, like hearing voices and whatnot. I mean, have you ever heard a crow or a raven talk with a human voice?
It's super creepy.
would probably explain a lot of that.
There's so many weird noises that you hear in the
Yeah.
woods. It could be literally anything.
Coyotes, they sound terrifying at night,
Yeah.
shockingly, because they're such tiny. I think they're kind of cute,
They
but
look like little
they
doggies.
sound, yeah, they're just little tiny cat dogs, but the screeching they make at night is horrible. Sorry, there was a fly.
It's honestly wild how even just like a stream going through the woods, if you hit it at the right angle, like it sounds scary too. Like there's usually an explanation for most things, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, depending how you want to look at it. So tell me, can you think of like the first time that something happened to you that you couldn't explain?
Oh yeah. So one of the houses of my childhood, one of the many, there, let me think. So this is the one that I lived in with my mom when I was in high school. We moved
Okay.
in when I was going into freshman year. And then I stayed there until I moved away to college. So that place had a lot of kind of like weird occurrences happening on a frequent basis. And there's a lake in the backyard, so it kind of could have something to do with it. There's theories around like water causing
Yeah.
energy to be amplified. And also, I live in a county that's basically built on top of limestone deposits. Like, it's everywhere here. Most of the courthouses and older buildings built in Indiana came from limestone in this county.
How interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, so we would have pretty regular activity there to the point we nicknamed it the Chip Ghost because we had a family room in the basement, and anytime we hung out in the basement, you could hear somebody up in the kitchen, like, rustling around in the cabinets, and it sounded like somebody would be grabbing chip bags and, like, opening it up and eating chips, like, and
It was
there
me.
would never be anybody in there. Somebody snuck in there.
Yeah.
But that was a frequent occurrence. Obviously, technology would be very wacky, which could be, the electric cables not being grounded properly, or I don't know electric terms. Anyway, it could have been a logical explanation for that. Whatever. One day I was there by myself, and I was just watching TV, and I heard my younger stepbrother's toy car radio turn on, and I just got very grumpy because it was very loud, and I was watching TV. And so I ran in there really fast, and it physically switched it off, and then ran back to the living room. And then, like, half an hour later, I was just watching the show, and then I went, huh. It did not even click in my head. Like, why did that turn on in the middle of the day?
Right.
And it's hard to push. Like, it wasn't like one of those super soft switches. So that was the first time where I just had no explanation.
Yeah.
I experienced the Pat Man for the first and only time in that house.
Oh, man.
I woke up in the middle of the night, and he was just standing over top of me, and then I freaked out and flailed, and I punched something, and then I ran into the living room, turned on all the lights, and I sat in the couch and just stared in my bedroom into the doorway for the rest of the night. And I did
Yeah.
not sleep in that house again after that.
Never again?
No, it terrified me. Like,
Yeah.
because I was always under the impression that it was sleep paralysis. He moved. I punched something.
I am like full chills because I always assumed it was sleep paralysis.
Yeah, that's how I always heard those stories. Like, the Hat Man's pretty well known because a lot of people who experience sleep paralysis tend to see him.
For sure.
Yeah, no, my knuckles were red the next day. To be fair, I could have punched a wall. I could have punched something else. I don't know. I was in a state of panic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you
Other
saw
than-
it.
Yeah, I did. I saw his silhouette, and it was a very, very opaque black. Like, there was no seeing through it. It was darker than the rest of the dark. You hear people say that all the time, but once you see it, you know exactly what I'm referring to.
Absolutely. And that is what happened the first time that I had an experience that I flat out couldn't explain. It was because of that same just blacker than night. Like, and I have chills just thinking about it because it was a similar situation of, well, not of the Hat Man, but of seeing that and just knowing in your head that that's not right. Like, there's something about it that is not right. And it was along this wall next to my bed, and it was just a black shadow. It didn't have a shape particularly for me, actually, but my neighbor did experience the same thing, but it did have a shape of a man to her. But it went from, like, I was in an old apartment building, and like the back of my bed where my pillows are was against the wall, and then on this wall there was windows, and I had a habit of laying in bed and reading and not turning any lights on because I got enough light in those windows that I didn't have to put the light on. And the windows faced the building next door. And so I was on the second floor of a 10-story apartment building facing an alleyway next to another 10-story building. So you're not getting a lot of traffic or anything that would cause shadows in the first place. And if you did get a shadow, it would be typically on the other side of the bed because here's your light source and you've got something in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Well, this shadow went from my head, the wall right behind me, along the wall with the windows into the closet and disappeared. And it was, like I said, blacker than night. And I just remember, and I did the same thing as you where I was like, da da da, like, I'm going to keep reading my book. And then, hold on a second. How did that happen? And it turned out my neighbor was experiencing things as well. And that's another story for another day. But once I found out that she was having similar experiences that I was, it really kind of hammered home because I had never met the woman before. We actually had a friend in common. And that's the only reason I even found out. But yeah, I think that is fascinating, and I'm terrified of the Hat Man. I've had a sleep paralysis experience, but it was like cloaked figures and not the Hat Man. I don't know what I would do. I probably would have punched something as well. I can't believe you had the damage on your hands.
Okay, not gonna lie. After it happened, I definitely questioned myself. I was like, you just woke up. It could have been anything. You just made it up in your brain because you were still, like, half asleep. I did everything to explain it away because I was embarrassed. Like, I fully and 100% just convinced myself I made it up in my mind and that I was just seeing things. So I was talking to my stepdad at the time, and this was a couple years after that incident, and I'd never talked to anybody about that. I didn't explain it because I was just very embarrassed. Don't remember how we even got on the top of the conversation, but I just kind of opened up to him about it, and I was like, hey, Greg, we've got this chip ghost thing, and he was like, yeah. I'm like, have you ever experienced anything else besides that? And he kind of, like, just looked at me and just kind of, like, gestured for me to go on. And I was like, well, I mean, I don't stay here now because the last time I slept here. And then I kind of, like, started telling him the story, and I told him I, like, had this weird experience. I didn't even give you the lead up to the story. It was a weird thing. Like, I was awake for a while before I saw him. Long story short, my hearing went weird. I was getting, like, that weird, like, white noise sound. It just kept getting louder and louder. And then I, like, covered my head with a blanket to, like, try to drown it out. And whenever I pulled it down, that's when he was standing over me. Nope. And he was just, like, leaning over top of me. And I get to that point where in the story, and I was telling him about it, and then he kind of stopped me and he said, was he wearing a hat?
Nope. Mm-mm.
And he explained the exact, like, obviously, Hat Man, a lot of people experienced it, but the fact that it was the same exact shape that I saw it, the same height that I saw, in the same house that he grew up in as a child, and he experienced it as a child there many times. So.
Wow. Did he stay in that same room when he was a child? Or just in the house in general?
In the house in general. The room I had had been a garage in the past that was converted into extra rooms. But,
wow. Wow, that is so creepy. Ugh.
Yeah.
I love when it, like, when you get, I was going to say vindicated. That's not the right word.
Validated.
Validated. Thank you. Yes. That is awesome. But also really scary because it makes you go, oh man, maybe I really did see it.
I had fully convinced myself I'd made it all up in my head, and then I had that talk with him. I'm like,
Oh my gosh. Blech.
I've had one other experience in that house before they moved. The same day they moved out was the same day I was moving into a different apartment in college. So we were all packing up our stuff to go, and I was in the basement grabbing some boxes, and I heard my mom call from upstairs, and she just shouted my name. And then I heard her murmuring, and I was like, I can't hear you. Blah, blah, blah. Repeat yourself, please. And then she said my name again, and she's like, Bri. Blah, 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 blah. Like, I still didn't hear you. Please just wait till I come upstairs. And then I heard her say, Bri. And this went back and forth for, not even exaggerating, 10 minutes, where I just progressively got more and more frustrated and grumpy, and then it turned to anger just because I was like, I can't hear you, please, you're making me feel like I'm going insane. And finally I just threw my box down and started stomping up the stairs, and I get to the point where I'm like eye level with the front door, and the front door opens and she walks in, and I guess I had a really grumpy look on my face because she just looked at me like, what's wrong with you? What's happening? And yeah, it turns out I was the only person in the house. Not only were they not in the house, but they were in the detached garage on a different lot.
No.
So I basically got into like a screaming match of sorts with something.
With her doppelganger.
Oh my god! Look at you tying up things that I never even thought about before. Maybe my mom's just haunted.
Chills. Maybe your mom is haunted.
She's got a doppelganger that just follows us around. Oh no.
Well, she went up the stairs at the beginning of this conversation, and then now she's calling her. So, okay. Again, I'm trying to like reason through this, right? So, was it her voice, or did you just hear your name in a woman's voice and you assumed it was her?
It was her voice.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yep.
Oh,
yep,
okay.
Yep. I can't put into words how convinced I was it was her. Like, it didn't even cross my mind to even question it. It was her.
Wow. And I feel like, especially when it comes to having your name called by your mom, like there's some visceral thing that you know that's your mom calling your name because you've heard it so many times.
Oh, yeah.
So
I bet you know exactly the emotion I was talking about. Like, the annoyed teenager responding to the mom. Yep.
1,000%. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. So did you tell her? What was her reaction?
So when I told her about it, she like was very freaked out and very thankful that happened to be the day they were moving out, and they moved to a different house in the same neighborhood. So I don't know how much that was escaping it, but whatever. Anyway, so she actually blames me a lot because for paranormal experiences she still has every now and then, because she says, quote, you bring things home, unquote. I don't know about all that.
You just pack them in a suitcase and bring them with you.
I go to a penitentiary. I'm like, hey fellas, get in the car.
That's amazing.
We've got a mother to visit. But no, she thinks this because one time I think it was after it was after I visited the Monroe house, the mysterious Monroe house. Incredible place, by the way. Only place I've been that's like downright terrified me.
Ooh, I want to hear that story later.
Yeah, of course. But anyway, I came back from there, and the first night I did not sleep well after I got back. Like, I just felt like I was heavily being watched the entire time. But then I did my usual of, all right, I get it, you're here, leave, I'm done. I'm gonna be boring now. There's nothing to see here. Move on. And it left me alone. Apparently I went and found my mom.
Oh, no.
Yeah. She said that she kept getting weird feelings in the kitchen, And then one time she was working on something, and something that was pretty sturdy up on a high shelf just randomly fell over and hit her on the head. And she was like, "Bri, you need to take care of this. You need to help me with this." I'm like, "All right." And so I just got her, some little sprays and stuff like that to try to cleanse the space, and that seemed to work. And the weird things she was feeling and experiencing quit after that. But oops, sorry, Mom.
Oops.
Oopsie.
That is wild. I don't know that I've ever had an experience where I felt like anything has come home with me, but I live in a place where I'm living right off of the river, and I don't know, maybe a mile down the road is a very liminal place, if you will, because it is 3 railroad crossings, I think 2 highways cross, and 2 streets cross, and it goes over the river all in one spot.
And they call Indiana the crossroads of America.
This place is nuts. And this is another long story for another time, but when I was at Michigan Paracon a couple years ago, I met someone completely randomly in Michigan who lives just a few miles down the street from me here in Richmond. And I was telling her where I live, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's a very liminal place, blah, blah, blah." And it hit me that is why I feel in my old apartment upstairs from here, I always felt like there were spirits kind of coming and going, but I never really felt like it was the same spirit. So it was kind of like, what is happening here? This is very weird. And it wasn't until she said that I was like, oh, it's probably like just spirits kind of passing through, and they're like popping in and seeing what's going on. So I wonder if like that's really what happened to your mom, like something just popped in and it happened to be about the same time, or if something really followed. I mean, I guess it could have, like you said, this place terrified you, so maybe something did follow you.
Oh no, I'm getting goosebumps just remembering it.
Ugh.
Oh, I forget just how strong of an impact it actually had on me. I need to go back.
Okay. Maybe we'll do something there.
It's got a draw for me. You just told me you were terrified to go to Lake Shawnee.
Listen, I'm terrified to go to the bathroom in the dark at night, so...
Yeah, you definitely need to come out on a ghost hunt sometime. I'm sure
I would love
you've been told
to.
that many times.
I have.
Me too.
And Alex Matsuo and Thorn Mooney, when we were talking in their respective episodes, I confess that I've actually never technically been on an investigation, like a for real actual investigation. And now, I think it was in Thorn's episode, when we were talking to Thorn, and I think it was Androniki, they decided that we should record bonus content for our Patreon where I get thrust into scary situations, and we record it, and everyone seems to think that's great, except for me.
No, I've got all kinds of ideas. Just let me know.
As long as I'm not by myself somewhere, I'm okay.
See, that's honestly, I still struggle with that part myself. I was always terrified of the dark as a kid, which is extra ironic considering how often I spend my time in dark, dank places now. But yeah, about the only times that are difficult for me are when I'm completely by myself away from people.
Yeah.
But that's something I'm working on. I'm trying to get over that.
It's a hard thing to get over because it is, I feel like, the most vulnerable that you feel.
It is. It is. And especially whenever you do stuff like this more frequently, you start to pick up on patterns. Like, never are you quite gonna exactly know what you're gonna get yourself into.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can't get any interaction at all with the group, and they will only target and show themselves to people who are off by themselves.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Like, you never quite know. But yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do, though, is for people that are extra skeptical, we try to get them by themselves, because we just hope that that'll be the best way for them to experience something.
Ugh. We'll see. Maybe we start out with me being craft services and bringing you guys snacks while you're investigating. So
I would love that, personally.
this is a little bit of a detour from what we were talking about, but I know you're big into theater. Hi, pals. The code word for this episode is specter. So
I would love that, personally.
this is a little bit of a detour from what we were talking about, but I know you're big into theater.
Yes.
Number one, do you have any haunted theater stories? And I know the answer is probably yes, because I feel like every theater is haunted. But I would love to hear a haunted theater story.
So, actually, I have a working theory on why theaters tend to be haunted, if you want to hear that real quick.
Absolutely, I do.
So this is going to kind of roll into my theory on what hauntings actually are in general.
Okay.
As I've mentioned to you before, I am definitely more on the skeptical side, but I'm also like slowly shifting away from that with time. But I believe I've come up with the most logical explanation that makes me feel like it feels right to me. Obviously, this isn't tested by any means since, it's paranormal. Nothing's actually really officially academic at this point.
Right.
But, so working off of the theory that it's energy, which, as I've been describing with my stories, that's how I see it, clearly. I don't necessarily believe that a death has to occur. I think it can be caused by heightened emotion in general. So I believe that when a traumatic event happens, for instance, as an example, I think like that person who gets affected ends up being affected so hard and their emotions are heightened so much that their energy kind of like leaves an imprint on the area.
Yeah.
And I think that has a little bit to do with why theaters tend to be haunted, because they tend to be, as long as it's a good theater, they tend to be a place of heightened emotion. I mean, the arts in general, one of the biggest impacts it has on society is it's like holding a mirror up to society. It's telling stories. It's showing society to itself and in a very artistic, sometimes absurd, sometimes abstract way. Yeah. And whenever people are into that sort of thing, you're gonna experience emotions there. So I don't know, it just makes sense in my head that could be why it seems to be most theaters are.
Yeah.
Especially with live theater, especially with them. And the people who work in theaters and the people who volunteer for them, like, they are incredibly passionate about art. And they tend to experience stronger emotions in general because they're very in touch with that side of themselves.
Yeah. 100%. I think that makes perfect sense. And I think you're exactly right, too, because I think a lot of times you hear stories about haunted theaters, and it does tend to, like, coincide with some, not necessarily a death, even just some kind of heightened emotion that happened there.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And there's a lot of places that have quote-unquote resident ghosts of people that didn't even pass away on the property.
Yeah.
Like, they could have passed away at home, but yet for some reason we get an impression of them at this other location because they spent a lot of their time there.
Yeah.
It just makes sense to me.
And not even necessarily theaters. Like, I think Abraham Lincoln is probably one of the more famous instances of that. His ghost is everywhere.
Yeah.
All over.
He's haunting the entire country.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty sure I saw him down by the river the other day.
Well, if you think about it, there was a very long train ride that displayed his body across the country.
Literal train tracks. I could see them from here.
Yep.
Could be old Abe over there. Oh gosh, now I'm going to see old Abe as the Hat Man tonight when I close my eyes, aren't I?
Your Hat Man's going to have a top hat.
And a beard. Oh my gosh, he had a beard. This is like that episode of The Office when they're trying to remember if Stanley has a mustache. And you're like, yeah, does he? And as soon as I said Abraham Lincoln had a beard, I was like, oh my God, did he not have a beard?
Well, there's famous pictures of him with and without. Makes you feel better.
True. Okay, that does make me feel better, yeah. I mean, I guess most famously, right, we picture him with a beard, but... Mm-hmm. Oh, Abe. So, theaters. Speaking of Abraham Lincoln. I'm sorry.
Me personally, I don't have any experience in a theater, shockingly, considering how much time I've spent. But I also have noticed that for me, I have a pretty good mental block from stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like, I have to mentally prepare myself and open myself up to experiences for whenever I'm just going out and about with my daily life. I don't sense much.
Yeah.
I'm starting to sound kind of woo-woo.
No, I get you.
I'm very sensitive to these sorts of matters when I'm specifically thinking about it and trying to experience it.
Yeah.
Which I do that because I'm convinced that everywhere is even just a little bit haunted.
Yeah.
I think it's everywhere, especially in this country, as blood-soaked as it is.
Everywhere. It's gotta be.
Yep.
And I think that it sounds to me like you have solid boundaries is what it is. That you know, like, okay, I'm turning it off. I'm unavailable. And then when you're ready, you can turn it back on. And I remember this show on TV about like psychic kids. I think that may have even been the name of the show, but they worked on teaching the kids like how to set those boundaries and be like, I am not open to your energy right now. No, thank you. And like, it sounds to me like you just naturally are like, nope, got it, on and off.
Gotta have mental blocks, otherwise it's just, I'm already exhausted all the time. I don't need to add to that.
Same. I think I'd be like a buffet for ghosts because I'd be so scared walking in there. I'd be like, all right, well, I guess I'm taking home a demon tonight. I'm half kidding. Okay, so no haunted theater stories, but, and this is probably the kind of question I would normally ask in our After the Gavel. If you could have any theater role ever of all time, what would your like dream role be?
Oh gosh.
I know, it's a hard one.
That is.
And you can narrow it down if you want. It could be musical. It could be just like a play. Could be comedy. Could be tragedy. Whatever. I'm open.
I've got an answer. I would love to be, and this will never happen, by the way, but I would love to be Seymour from Little Shop of Horrors.
I feel like we should make this happen. That'd be amazing. Why not? Let's do it. We'll put on...
Well, I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I've kind of morphed out of acting.
Yeah.
I barely act anymore. It's usually directing now.
That's awesome.
Or assisting in some way, shape, or form. An okay singer. There's better.
I'm sure you're better than me. I am absolutely horrific when I'm not 100% sure I'm tone deaf because I can play music pretty well, but when it comes to making it come out of my mouth, it's not great. So I mostly stayed behind the scenes when I did theater as well. My favorite thing to do was the curtains.
That's how I got my start as a 8-year-old in grade school.
I don't know what it is, but it makes you feel so cool because you're like, nope, you're done. No more. Goodbye.
Go rogue and start shutting off from somebody you don't like.
I used to do that when we would rehearse. If I was like, wow, that was bad, turn it off. I always dreamed of being like on stage. I grew up watching a taped off TV version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And I don't know if it had been on Broadway or where it had been, but it was on TV in the 80s and my mother taped it. And for decades I watched it on this VHS tape. And I desperately wanted to be Snow White in that play. And when I was like 12, auditioned to be in the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in my like local theater. And I made it past the first round of auditions somehow. I think because I was making fun of myself. I did my little monologue, whatever. And then this song that I sang, because I'm such a bad singer, I sang the Oscar Mayer Wiener theme song and tried to make it like
classic,
ridiculous. And then I got a call back and had to dance and did not get called back after that.
Yeah, I cannot dance. I am not a dancer. I get very, very much tripped over myself quite often when it comes to just walking in general.
Yep.
So yeah, I am not a triple threat by any means, which in the biz.
You have to be these days.
You have to be, but yeah, that just means you can act, sing, and dance,
Oof.
which I'd rather direct.
On that note, and we can cut this part if you want because it has nothing to do with anything, but I read the book Wicked. I've never seen the play or the musical. When I heard that Ariana Grande got cast, I was like, you gotta be joking me. This is ridiculous. But I went to see it because we went as like an outing for work. Have you seen it?
I haven't.
All I'm gonna say...
I'm an awful musical theater kid, by the way. I'm the worst.
It's okay. It's okay. When I tell you her first moment on screen, just straight up my arm, goosebumps. And when she opens her mouth, her whole first song is like opera. I remember my coworker tapping me like, "Are you okay?" Because I just was like, what on earth is coming out of this girl's mouth? She's an actual angel. Now, Cynthia Erivo, on the other hand, she's not an angel. She's some kind of supernatural being. I mean,
I've heard it's incredible.
I can't even come up with words because I think she might actually be from another planet or the heavens. She should be in every musical ever until the end of time, in my humble opinion.
See, I'm not great with musicals because I have a little bit of an audio processing issue. So I never know what's happening in them. I have to have captions or else I'm completely lost.
Honestly, I've never thought about it as an audio or auditory like processing issue, but I have the same problem and I watch everything with subtitles. Because I'm with you. I'll lose the story.
Oh, yeah.
I thought when I went to see my first opera, I was going to have that same problem, but I didn't know they give you the frickin' subtitles at the top of the stage.
I didn't know that was a thing either.
It was
I just assumed people went to opera just to exist in the vibes.
That's what I thought, too.
And just guess what's going on based on how they dress and move.
Honestly, that's what I was prepared for. And I probably never would have gone ever, but a coworker of mine was in the opera in Charlotte. I forget now which one it was. It's whatever the one was from Pretty Woman that she sees for her first opera, funny enough. What is it? That's going to drive me nuts. Anyway, that's what I saw, and it was incredible, and I cried for an hour and a half.
There's something about, like, live classical music and live opera. Like, I went and only saw a concert once, and it was when I was in college, and it was a free one because it was a student one. I just... Tears waterfalled from my eyes the entire time. Like, my entire body was just like... as somebody who's not a religious person, that was the most religious experience I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. 100%.
And I've only seen it once.
So I feel like... I think that people are moved to religion or spirituality in so many different ways, and it can mean so many different things to so many people. It doesn't have to be organized religion. But I feel like in that moment, you found your thing. Like, your connection with the universe, you know? And maybe it's in other places too. I feel that way random times, honestly.
Same. For me, it's live, not all live music. Some live music
Yeah.
has had that effect on me. And then other than that, like seeing incredibly, like, how to word this? Places in nature that your brain just refuses to grasp as real.
Yes.
That's big for me. And Sam and I, we haven't been married for a year yet. Like, we got married September last year.
All right.
And we eloped to Colorado, but the entire way out there, we just made the entire trip like a road trip.
Oh.
So we drove from Indiana and went up north and then turned west, and we hit up a bunch of national parks while we were out there. Like, we saw Glacier and Yellowstone and drove past Moab. And Glacier, like the first day that we were exploring there, we took the Over the Sun road highway. I was like that the entire time we were in that park. Like, I was just mind blown by how incredible everything was. Like, it was so beautiful. And I hate using the word majestic because it's kind of a lame word, but that's the only way to describe it. It was majestic as fuck.
Yeah, no joke. Oh, that's my dream. I would love to go there. I'm happy to hear that you had that experience there.
So good. I highly, highly recommend it.
Was that your favorite place?
Oh. Where we got married was. Sadie, get down. Sorry, she was trying to steal my food.
Come on, Sadie.
So, we got married in Grand Junction, Colorado, and that's where the National Monument is. The Colorado National Monument, that they just call it the monument. And that's where we got married there because that's where my husband was born. But we rented a place that was right along the edge of where the park began, because like we were out in the desert, and the back, like the entire house was custom built, and there was these giant floor to ceiling windows, and they all looked out on the monument and the giant mesas, and it was incredible. Also, we did see a UFO, 3 of them, over the week we were there.
Oh my gosh.
And the entire week that we were in Colorado, we ended up having a bunch of really cool experiences. We saw, the only way we could describe them were unidentified flying objects throughout multiple days. And we also experienced paranormal stuff in that house as well.
What?
Like, yeah, whenever we got there, we met the lady who owned the place, and she saw the ghost tattoo on my leg and brought it up, and I was like, oh yeah, I do paranormal investigating. And then she got so excited and just started rambling to me about how this was the house her dad built, and her family grew up there, and her kids grew up there, and how every single one of them had all these experiences. And she's like, just let me know if you experience anything, I just want to hear it. And
wow,
that day it began.
Oh my gosh, just right away.
Immediately, daylight and everything. First day we got there, one of my friends took a shower because she'd just gotten off the plane, and we were all outside on the porch just hanging out, and it was just her in the house, and she didn't realize we all went outside, and she forgot a towel or something and was like called out and begged for us to help her.
Oh no.
And this is her perspective. She said, I called out and asked somebody to bring me a towel, and I heard 2 girls giggling and then run upstairs. And I got pissed because I thought it was you.
Oh, no.
Pointed to me and one of our other friends. She was like, I thought it was you 2, and then I got out, and then I found out you were all outside.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Yep. So that happened. A door got locked on her at one point, even though there wasn't a lock on the door. She just couldn't open it.
Oh, no. That one freaks me out. I don't like feeling trapped someplace.
Me neither. Not a great feeling. My other friend got freaked out because she went to bed earlier than the rest of us, and she was upstairs in the house by herself. Yet again, we'd just been out the entire time almost. We were outside on the porch. But she was in there, and she couldn't go to sleep. because the light outside her room started flickering on and off. And, like, had this weird pattern to it and just wouldn't stop. And then she even, like, recorded it and sent it to me while I was outside. And she was like, hey, can you come inside? I'm getting kind of scared. And I started walking in, and I didn't see the message for, like, 5 minutes. And I finally saw it, and I'm like, oh, I should go check on her.
Yeah.
And she said it kept flickering the entire time until I got to the staircase. And right when I got, like, where I could have seen it, it stopped and went back to normal.
Oh, no.
Yep. And she said when she finally did fall asleep, she woke up and her bedroom light was on.
No way.
And I shared that with the lady who owned the place, and she was like, oh, yeah, that happened to us, too.
Oh, no way. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it was
So
pretty
did
cool.
anything happen to you, or did it leave you alone because it knew it was your special day?
I think it left me alone and was just messing with my friends, which honestly I found hilarious.
Yeah, I would too.
My goodness.
All right, I have one more question for you.
Hit me.
And honestly, you've already done 10 of these, so you don't have to do another one if you don't want to. But we always wrap it up with, can you tell me a ghost story? It can be your funniest, your scariest, your saddest, you name it, whatever.
I didn't tell you the Monroe House one.
Tell me now. I'm ready.
Okay, so preparing myself. So, yet again, my skeptical side's gonna pop out because I feel like this scared me to the point that I feel weird sharing it.
Oh,
because
okay.
I'm like, I know it doesn't sound believable. So, it was me and a bunch of my friends who are all in paranormal investigating, since that's basically how we see each other. We just plan investigations. And most of us had just gotten there, and we were still, like, greeting each other and playing catch-up since we hadn't seen each other in a while. And all of us were in the opening room, welcome room, I don't know what they call it. It was like the first room you get into when you first go in.
Okay.
And I was sitting in the corner in a chair by myself, and everybody was just kind of congregated throughout the room, just, like, basically yelling over top of each other, because we were all, like, super excited about, catching up, friends.
Yeah.
I was just observing because shockingly, considering how much I've talked today, I'm kind of a quiet observer when it comes to people, especially group situations.
Me too.
So I was just sitting in the corner, smiling, watching everybody else catch up. Wasn't even thinking about the fact that we were in a haunted location. Wasn't thinking about investigating at all. It was just chatting friends, listening to conversations. And all of this happened at the same exact time, so it's really difficult to explain. But my hearing went real weird. Everybody suddenly got really muted, and it was like this tunnel vision kind of like cone sound, you know what I mean?
100%.
And the exact moment that happened, where, like, all the voices just muted, and I heard what sounded like the voice of, like, a 5-year-old girl, maybe even like a 3-year-old, like little girl. In my ear, but in my head, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
100%.
I heard the tiny girl voice say, "What you doing?" and, like, giggle, like,
Oh.
entire, like, from head to toe, I just felt dread, just,
Oh.
and I could tell nobody else heard it because everybody just continued on as if nothing happened. And I just, like, stood up really fast, looked around, peeked out the window, closed the curtain, and then I ran outside to look outside.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's gotta be a girl here. No, it was nobody outside, nothing. And yeah, just huge cold chills. And I explained that to everybody, so not too shockingly, that was a frequent question that popped up throughout the rest of the night for the actual investigation, since we hadn't even begun.
Yeah.
Ooh, sorry, I'm
No.
kind of shivery thinking about
Me
it.
too. And you said that you had, like, a
So-
feeling of dread when that happened? With, like, immediate?
Immediate gut reaction.
Wow.
And please keep in mind, this was by far my first investigation. I've even investigated places with, like, other children's spirits before, and usually they're my favorite. Like,
Yeah.
I love interacting with the spirits of kids because they're so happy and they just want to have fun and they want to play
Yeah.
and they want to dance and mess with toys.
No.
This was different. This was very, very different. And I've never heard a voice that clear up until that point. I have now since then. But that was the clearest I've ever heard a voice before.
Wow.
And we were in the basement later on that night where the human remains had been found in the crawl space. And we had an ovulus and a phasma box set up going at the same time on opposite sides of the basement. And one of my friends said, so who was the little girl that talked to Bri? And at the same exact time, both of them responded, and one of them, the ovulus, said creature, and we heard the phasma box say, it disguises itself. Yeah, I just kind of pulled what I did in the living room earlier. I stood straight up and I went out of the basement.
Nope.
Like, I tend to take a lot of breathers outdoors on investigations just because I get overwhelmed emotionally pretty easily. I could barely stay inside that house for longer than 15 minutes. Like, I had to take that frequent of breaks in there. Wow. Like, I was constantly filled with, like, this icky gut feeling. And I really want to go back.
I'm so surprised you want to go back. I don't think you could convince me to go in that house now.
Well, curiosity's piqued now. We talked about this.
Nah.
I gotta see it through. Gotta see it through.
There's something about it, though, when it, like, when you said it filled you with dread, that is what would have made me, like, I can handle, I have never, like, been in this actual situation, but I feel like I could have handled, you know, oh, it says creature or whatever, and it's creepy, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's not creepy.
Oh, no.
But it's that feeling of dread that your body is picking up for seemingly no reason, just instinct. That to me is your body being like, get out of here, don't come back here. But
I listen to those gut feelings. I get them so rarely. When they happen, I listen. Like,
exactly.
It was not just dread. It was 100% fight or flight.
Yeah.
Like, that is what kicked in.
Kind of like when you punch the Hat Man. It just happens. You know, I was walking my dog last night, and it's the same thing with animals. They just have that instinct, and he's pretty chill. Like, he's one of the chillest little dogs I've ever known. And like, we were walking probably like 9 o'clock and went down towards the river to go, he could do his business or whatever. And all of a sudden he like popped his head up and looked, and then he like looked like he was looking even like closer at something. And I couldn't see what he was seeing, but he turned and went right back towards the apartment. And I was like, we're going, because if you are that scared, I should be too. So we left.
I'll follow.
I do not mess around when it comes to instincts. Nope.
I don't either. I mean, what's the point of ignoring them? Why else do we have them?
Now, I do think that we sometimes confuse ourselves and think that something is just an instinctive reaction, but really it's our brain overthinking or, you know, making things up or whatever. But there's a difference, and you can feel it. You feel that difference when your body's like, hey, pay attention, something's happening, you know? So I think that's so interesting.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this is the same for everybody, but one of the biggest ways I can tell the difference is because when it's like my instinct, it's pretty instantaneous.
Exactly.
When it's just me freaking myself out, I can feel it building.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like slower to come on, and you can tell it's coming.
Yeah.
But whenever it comes to like you just instinctively reacting to something, like, you don't get any warning.
And it's not subtle.
Yet again, with the little girl thing, I was not paying attention. Like, I'm used to being in haunted places. I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't even, but we were just in the moment hanging out with friends.
Oh my gosh. I mean, all right, if you want to go back, I will send you all the good juju, all the good vibes.
I need to get my friends to go with me again too, if they are willing. Afterwards, a couple of them had some rough nights as well.
Oh my gosh.
A few of us had the same reoccurring nightmares afterwards.
No.
Like some crazy stuff in that place.
Nope.
Yeah.
I will, I think it was Alex Matsuo was talking about when she got a whole gallon jug of holy water. I'll bring the gallon jug of holy water for this one. Oh my gosh.
Just sip on it periodically throughout the night to be
Do
extra safe.
shots of holy water. All right, everybody's going in. Do a shot. No, thank you. So how far, is that far from you?
No, it's pretty close. It's in the same state.
Yeah.
It's about 2.5 hours north of me.
Oh, that's not bad at all. You could go.
Oh yeah, 100%. I lucked out. In Indiana, there's so many haunted places. Like
Yeah. Big ones.
Throw a dart and you'll hit one.
Yeah.
Yeah, huge ones. Pretty decently well-known ones. And then I'm close to the Louisville line as well. So all those places in that area is... I'm in a great location for this.
Yeah, you are. R.I.P. to Bobby Mackey's, I guess.
Yeah, I never did get to go there before that happened, but I'll live.
I have mixed feelings about that one. I mean, obviously, I didn't investigate it, but I feel like a lot of it was already debunked, right? So tell me more about the other stuff.
Like, almost all of the history I've heard about the place was either incredibly exaggerated or just straight up made up. So I can't say it was too high up on my list.
Yeah. But then again, there's so many places, like the Myrtles Plantation, I've heard this is the case there, and some other places as well, where, the lore may not have been true. It may have been made up or exaggerated to great degrees. But that doesn't mean that didn't create some kind of energy, Well,
that's the weird thing about this Monroe House. They call it the Mystery Monroe House because there is no official known history of record of it. But, I mean, there was human remains found, but I'm pretty sure it ended up, like, the carbon dating ended up being, like, ancient human.
Oh, wow.
So nothing in modern times. And there is rumors about a sheriff having lived there, and he had prison cells in the basement. You can see in the basement where that was true, but according to newspapers, it was like overflow from the jail, and it wasn't like him. He could have been. It was his own home. Who the hell knows what actually happened? But that's the point. We don't know.
Yeah. All we can do is
so
speculate.
Everything's very. Yeah, it's all speculation. But I do know that is also the place where I had the most horrifying experience I've ever had on an investigation.
Wow.
So who knows?
I feel like I'm probably speaking for everyone who hears this, but we're all going to need more of... We're going to need you to go investigate some more. Give us a blog or come back and talk more on the podcast about it, because this is a wild story.
I'm not going to lie, I love writing, so you're probably going to get sick of all the blogs I plan on submitting.
No, not going to happen. Keep them coming.
Will do.
All right, well, I have kept you, like, a long time now. But this was awesome. I'm so glad we got to talk, and I got to know you a little bit better. And
for sure.
Thank you for sharing all your crazy stories. These are wonderful and terrifying.
Tip the iceberg, baby.
I love that. Honestly, I always feel like I have so many scary stories until I talk to other people, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a paranormal baby.
I started keeping a specific paranormal investigation journal just because I was terrified I would start forgetting things.
Yeah.
I'm very glad I did, because I went through and reread it the other day, and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's so much in it that I've completely forgotten about.
All right.
I haven't even talked about the Ura Shrine or all the other places I've been. Ura, if that is a must-go see. For anybody interested in the paranormal, go to Ura Shrine in Bristol, Tennessee. It is incredible. Like, immediate love at first sight for me.
Okay, literally, as soon as you said that, I got this whoosh of cold air over me. And it's gone. I don't know. It's not like the air cut on.
That's because the ancestors are calling you to the Ura Shrine.
Maybe so, because you are not the first person to say that. I think everyone I think everybody I've talked to that's been there has said the exact same thing. That is just
It's
really remarkable.
so special.
Yeah.
It is.
Ugh.
It's, you cannot put it into words. It's something that you can only experience. And that's
Okay.
all I gotta say about that.
Now I've got to add that to my list.
I've been twice, and I plan on going at least once a year for the rest of my life.
Oh, wow. Okay. And that's not terribly far for me. I think it's about 4 hours from here, so it's not super far. I could make it happen.
It's like a 7.5 hour drive for me.
Whew.
Worth it.
Okay, well, if it's worth that, then I'm in. And I think from what I've heard from everybody, I would feel pretty safe there, so I'll give it a whirl.
Oh, yeah. But it's, I've never, I mean, okay, that would be incorrect. I was about to lie straight to your face. When I do get the icky gut feeling there, it's so fleeting. And there's so much energy, and it's basic, consider it a train station when it comes to spiritual energy. Like, everything's so passing through so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, you could experience the icky feeling, go outside, wait a little bit, go back in, it'll be gone.
Wow. That's kind of like what my apartment feels like.
Interesting.
In a good way and a bad way sometimes. Mostly good.
Yeah.
So, before we go, I just want to remind everybody to check us out on social media. Visit our Beacons page. It's beacons.ai/spooky sisterhood. From there, you'll find links to our socials and website and our guest information. Big thank you, of course, to our wonderful Patreon pals. If you want to join us for our bonus content and have the opportunity to ask questions of our guests, get some other cool perks, then please head over to patreon.com/spooky sisterhood and check it out. With that, if there's no more business, this meeting of the Secret Society of the Spooky Sisterhood is adjourned. Keep it spooky, Sibs. It's on down to Halloween season, y'all. This year we've got an amazing grand prize package that we're giving away on Halloween. For information on how you can enter, visit our website, which is spookysisterhood.com/events. And please don't forget to check out all of our incredible paranormal partners. A huge thank you to the Smell of Fear Candle Company, Beacons TV, Spooks and Sparkles, Cryptid Comforts, Dave Hemmings, Adela Levine, Night Shift Paranormal, Lauren Haunts, and Spirit Jersey. Please go see all the wonderfully spooky things they have to offer today.